योऽन्ता प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तान् सञ्जीवयत किल शक्तिधरा स्वधाम्ना अन्यांशः हस्तचरणश्रवणं स्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् कथाञ्चना स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्य नमामि तम्। Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are studying from the first canto, 9th chapter, text number 36 onwards we will start. This is our 92nd class in the series.
That thing is making sound very clear.
Hare Krishna. So we will start with the 36th verse in the 9th chapter. So last time we did 35th verse. I hope all of you remember something from the last class. Okay, so we'll have the same system. We'll chant 36th verse, then one of you will have to read translation and purport. And then we'll discuss the main themes from the purport and then go to the next verse. That's the system we've been following the last few weeks now. 36th verse. Vyavahita pratana mukham niriksha svajanavadad vimukasya dosha buddhya. Vyavahita pratana mukham niriksha svajanavadad vimukasya dosha buddhya. Kumati maharhat atma vidyayash charanarati paramasya tasya mestu. Kumati maharat atma vidyayash charanarati paramasya tasya mestu. Please, one of you read the translation and purport.
When Arjun was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. The
Purport.
The kings and the commanders were to stand in the front of the fighting soldiers. That was the system of actual fighting. The kings and commanders were not so called. The kings and the commanders were not so called presidents and ministers of defense as they are today. They would not stay home while the poor soldiers or mercenaries were fighting face to face. This may be the regulation of modern democracy, but when actual monarchy was prevailing, the monarchs were not cowards elected without consideration of qualification. As it was evident from the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all the executive heads of both parties, like Drona, Bhishma, Arjun, and Duryodhan, were not sleeping. All of them were actual participants in the fighting, which was selected to be executed at a place away from the civil residential quarters. This means that the innocent citizens were immune from all effects of fighting between the rival royal parties. The citizens had no business in seeing what was going to happen during such fighting. They were to pay 1/4 of their income to the ruler, whether he be Arjun or Duryodhana. All the commanders of the parties on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were standing face to face, and Arjun saw them with great compassion and lamented that he was to kill his kinsmen and the battle on the battlefield for the sake of the empire. He was not at all afraid of the giant great phalanx presented by Duryodhan, but as a merciful devotee of the Lord, renunciation of worldly things was natural for him, and thus he decided not to fight for worldly possessions. But this was due to a poor fund of knowledge, and therefore it is said here that his intelligence became polluted. His intelligence could not be polluted at any time because he was a devotee and constant companion of the Lord, as is clear in the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Apparently, Arjun's intelligence became polluted because otherwise there would not have been a chance to deliver the teachings of Bhagavad Gita for the good of all polluted conditioned souls engaged in material bondage by the conception of the false material body. The, the Bhagavad Gita was delivered to the conditioned souls of the world to deliver them from the wrong conception of identifying the body with the soul and to re-establish the soul's eternal relation with the Supreme Lord. Atma Vidya, or transcendental knowledge of himself, was primarily spoken by the Lord for the benefit of all concerned in all parts of the universe.
Hare Krishna. So we are reading Bhishma's final prayers before he's leaving the world. And we have been seeing this chapter, which has been going on for some months now, where it begins with Bhishma welcoming everyone on his deathbed and welcoming them according to the time, place, and circumstance. And we saw how this chapter is very special because in this chapter we read that when Bhishma is, whatever he's speaking, this is being heard live by great souls from all over the universe who have come here. So this is a very special discussion happening. It is not simply, Bhishma talking to Pandavas. And when all of them have come, Bhishma, although he is in excruciating pain, he's on a bed of arrows, he is able to welcome them and speak affectionate words to them. And then he glorifies Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, following which he also instructs Yudhishthira Maharaj on the science of dharma, management. And we discussed in the previous classes how Mahabharata, almost half of Mahabharata is this parva of Bhishma and Yudhishthira Maharaj's discussions, which lasted for how many days? 55 days it lasted, and there are 355 chapters. So we discussed all of this in great detail. And now we are reading the most important section where Bhishma is offering his intense prayers. We began with 32nd verse. So now we are at 36th verse, 5th verse. So we are delving into deeper. And in today's purport, like in this verse, what Bhishma Dev is very clearly saying, is remembering how Arjuna was bewildered before the war, how Krishna counseled him, Krishna gave knowledge to him. So he has seen that because he was right there. Arjuna sitting on the chariot, not wanting to fight. So Bhishma is remembering that, oh, this is the same Krishna who inspired Arjuna to fight. So I want to remember this Krishna as lotus feet. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada covers two themes. So one of the themes is the first initially how the warriors would fight in the earlier times. Srila Prabhupada says they were not sitting in their AC rooms and just getting report of the war. They were actually in the front fighting. And how wars would be fought. Common people would not be disturbed like that. And the second theme which we will take for today's discussion, where Prabhupada writes about Arjuna getting bewildered. And Srila Prabhupada explains how this was the Lord's arrangement so that Bhagavad Gita knowledge can be given. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks the importance of Bhagavad Gita or scriptures, how the Bhagavad Gita purifies the intelligence. So all of us, we are studying Bhagavatam. Basically, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, they are like kind of our main core books in Islam. So the whole mood here is Prabhupada is saying Bhagavad Gita will purify the intelligence. Bhagavad Gita was delivered to the conditioned souls to deliver them from the wrong conception of the body. We're all attached to the body. Morning to night, we're only thinking in terms of our body, relationships, and and beauty of this body. Everything connected to the body. But Bhagavad Gita takes us to the platform of the soul. So this is what Srila Prabhupada emphasizes, the importance of Bhagavad Gita. So we'll spend a few minutes understanding the importance of studying scriptures, especially reading Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So there is a beautiful verse. So you can repeat after me. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine Sakrit Gitamrita Snanam Samsara Malanashanam. So here it is explained, Maline, Mochanam, Pumsam. Human beings, they get dirty. From morning to evening, you go out of the house, you're doing so many activities. So mala is dirt on the body. Maline, Mochanam, Pumsam. So what do we do to clean this dirt? Jala Snanam Dine Dine. Every day and sometimes many times in a day, we take bath with water. Jalasnanam Dine Dine. Similarly, Sakrit, even once if you take bath, Sakrit, switch it off. Please switch it off. Sakrit Gitamrita Snanam. So even once if you take bath, ये mic को off मत करना बाबा, ये on रखना. मैंने उसको बोला बंद कर. Sakrit means even once if you take bath, just like we take bath with water. इसको थोड़ा volume बढ़ाओ. If we take bath for the body with water. Similarly, for the soul, for the intelligence, mind to be purified, Sakrit, even once if we take bath, Gitamrita Snana, we take bath with the Amrit of Bhagavad Gita, Gitamrit. Gitamrit, the nectar of Bhagavad Gita ka snan karna chahiye. What will happen? Samsara, Malanashana, the dirt that you have accumulated because of being in this world, because our consciousness also gets dirty. Like in the morning, we start reading newspapers, not newspapers, you watch it on TV or a phone and you hear gossip, politics. So all this is mala. Just like the body gets dirt, the mind also gets dirt. And just like for the body, we take bath to clean the dirt. Similarly, to clean the consciousness, we should study scriptures. In fact, Shankaracharya has beautifully said, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani Karmanapi Asya Devasya Seva. He says, let there be one Shastra. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam, the one that is spoken by Devaki Putra Krishna. And let there be one God. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Let Devaki's son be the one God. Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani. Let there be one mantra glorifying him. And let there be one work for all living beings. Karmani api asya devasya seva. That is to please him, to serve him. So like this, our scriptures are glorified, especially Bhagavad Gita is glorified by many acharyas. In fact, one of the most wonderful explanation about how Bhagavad Gita helps us is there's a very good analogy to explain this. You can repeat this verse after me. Sarvopanishado gavo Dogda Gopala Nandana Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Maha. Sarva Upanishada Gavo. All the Upanishads are compared to a cow. If you collect all the Upanishads, they become like one cow. Dogda Gopala Nandana. Krishna is like the cowherd boy. Partha, Arjuna, Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta is like a calf. So what is remaining now? Anybody? Milk is remaining, right? Cow is the Upanishads. Cowherd boy is Krishna. And who is the calf? Arjuna. And who is helping the calf get what? Milk. And the milk is compared to Dugdam Gitamritam Mahant. The nectar of Bhagavad Gita is that milk. So like this, if you churn all the scriptures, everything, the essence that needs to be known is there in the Gita. And Bhagavatam is, of course, more elaborate. So we have to take shelter of the scriptures, not simply come for Bhagavatam classes for entertainment or watch on YouTube entertaining speakers to stimulate our senses. We need to study them deeply because there is a lot of science behind this, which we will explore. We have already discussed this in the past, how to study scriptures, how to hear. The importance of hearing, we have done so much. So sometimes some of you may find these classes repetitive because today is the 92nd class. You will think, "Arey, Prabhu, ye to bahut baar suna hai aapne." But that is how Krishna consciousness learning is. Spiritual knowledge is not linear. See, if you go to a college and you're studying your degree, post graduation, you learn something, then you learn something new. Knowledge keeps growing and it's a linear growth. But in spiritual knowledge, it's not linear growth, it is spherical. Means you learn something and that you churn and that catapults you to the next level. And then at the next level, you are accessing the same knowledge which you accessed at the lower level. But now you're accessing it at a higher dimension of consciousness. And there you are churning it. And then again you go higher. And there again access the same knowledge. So it's a very different dimension. Therefore, if you find what I'm saying repeating, or even the verses repeating, you should know that it is to provoke you to go deeper. Because you will not get, because I did Bhagavad Gita cycle, like with these boys and girls, children who are coming from a Monday, now Wednesday classes. We have completed the entire Bhagavad Gita last week. So today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we are starting the first chapter again. It took us 2 years to complete. Every verse we chanted. Every class you take 7 to 10 verses and then discuss it. So the children are thinking, Vapas wahi Gita. I said, I can guarantee you, you would have forgotten everything in the first chapter. And also, even if you remember, you will learn it in a different way now. So I did this Borivali for 17 years. I did Bhagavad Gita, 2004 to 2021. And I did 5 cycles of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And there were some people who attended all the 5 cycles. And each time they would say, Prabhuji, ये तो आपने 5वीं बार सुनते पर ऐसा लग रहा है पहली बार सुनते। तो I thought, अच्छा हमारा कलयुग में हमारे टीचर्स का धंधा पानी अच्छा चलेगा. Because people forget, so we can always repeat the same thing. No, but even as I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, like I gave 5th chapter class 2 weeks ago in Worli, and it was an intense class. I had to summarize the first 5 chapters. So when I was reading, I was like astonished. अच्छा ये भी है, ये भी है. I felt I'm reading it for the first time. So that is the power of spiritual books. They reveal to you new understanding. Therefore, our great Acharya has said, Bhagavad Gita kinchidadita Ganga jalalava kanika pita Sakradeva murari samarcha kriyate tasyana yamena charcha. Very sweet words. It says, if you just do little bit, kinchid, little bit of Bhagavad Gita study in your head, if you put it, Bhagavad Gita kinchidadita or Ganga jala lava kanika pita, a little bit of Ganga jal you drink. Or once, Sakradeva Murari Samarcha, if you put your head on the lotus feet of Krishna, if you offer obeisances to Murari Krishna, if you do one of the 3 things, what are the 3 things? First, little bit of study intelligently, wisdom and intelligently study Bhagavad Gita. Second, Ganga Jal you drink. Third, bowing down to Krishna, what will happen? Kriyate tasyana yamena charcha. In Yamaraj's assembly, your name will not be discussed. This is a very poetic way of saying you will be liberated from the cycle of birth and death and you won't go to hellish planets. So these are all the glories of Bhagavad Gita given in scriptures. Essentially, for devotees, we understand Bhagavatam and Gita as something which is churned, like sugar cane. Sugar cane, when you take that juice, that sugar cane, and then they boil it and then they make what jaggery of it. So the scriptures, various scriptures are compared to sugar cane. Gita, Bhagavatam are compared to jaggery. They are coming from the same source, but they are sweeter than the original. And they come from the original only. That's why they nourish us. See, Vedic scriptures are compared to tree. Now, tree has many things. There is branch, there is twigs, there is leaves. All of these things are the roots, trunk. But if you go and bite that trunk, or bite that leaf, or branch, it will not taste sweet. But from that same tasteless tree, branch, trunk, twig, leaves, nice fruit comes, mango fruit. And that mango fruit is sweet. Similarly, the Vedic scriptures, all these are like tree. Branches are there, Upanishads, all this. But Bhagavatam and Gita, they are like the fruits. They are like the mango. They give so much solace. Henry David Thoreau in 1840s was living in Boston at Walden Pond. And he wrote this book called Walden, which when I was in college, we were very fond of it. It's considered as a masterpiece written 180 years ago. And that book is based on the Gita. And he himself was unabashed admirer of the Gita. So Gita has stimulated so many intellectuals, so many minds. Walden, 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 Boston, Massachusetts. So there is a pond there, Walden. So there he stayed for 3 years and he wrote this book. And he was a great admirer of the Gita and he followed the Gita principles, although he never came to India. His mentor was Ralph Waldo Emerson. And both of them, they started in 1840s, 50s, they started a group in America called, they were from Boston, so they started a group called Boston Brahmin Community. Even today, if you go to Wikipedia, not now, after the class, you check on Wikipedia, Boston Brahmin Community, you type, you will get the list of members of that Boston Brahmin community, and you will see all of them are Americans. Because they knew what is Brahmin, Kshatriya, what does the Gita teach. They understood Vedanta. In fact, Henry David Thoreau, after studying Upanishads and Gita, he started worshipping Mother Ganga in America, River Ganga. He started doing yoga and started taking curd rice, saying that this is the food of India, so I want to also start eating curd rice. And when he was dying, he died at a young age. He got some fever and all that, and when he was dying, it was very peaceful. And just before dying, his last word he spoke was India, and then he died. I'm not just exaggerating, these are all there, documented facts. He was so attached to India, the culture, the Upanishads, the Gita. India, Ultimate. So Henry David Thoreau and Emerson's writings influenced the three greatest influencers of the 20th century. 20th century is considered one of the most turbulent periods in human history. And the three biggest influencers of 20th century were Leo Tolstoy, Mahatma Gandhi, and Martin Luther King Jr. They are considered as the three most positive influences in the society. And it's interesting, you find out these three men, what inspired them? Mahatma Gandhi, Leo Tolstoy, Russian author, very famous. War and Peace. So Leo Tolstoy, Mahatma Gandhi, and Martin Luther King Jr. is that founder of that. That civil disobedience, that American movement, the against racial discrimination. He launched this amazing movement in the 1960s and was murdered for it. So all of them were deeply influenced by Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson. And they attributed, Mahatma Gandhi used to read Emerson and Thoreau so much. Now these two men were influenced by Upanishads and Gita. For that. There are many examples I can give. Each of them, like Tony Robbins, now he's speaking so much. Wayne Dyer, our emotional healer, she studied in Maharshi Mahesh Yogi's ashram. Louis Hay. Then so many of them, the connection to India is very, very deep. So this is Bhagavad Gita is the cream. It's like Bhagavatam is the cream. So therefore, we need to take this seriously. See, Vedas are said that they're coming from the Lord's breathing. Vishnu's breathing, the Vedas have come. But Gita has come from the Lord's lips. So it is directly from Krishna's lips. And he spoke this 5,500 years ago. And even today you see management colleges are discussing Bhagavad Gita, medical professionals are discussing, doctors, everybody is talking about Bhagavad Gita. That means it's so relevant. So there's so much we could discuss on this, but I wanted you to know that Srila Prabhupada had this faith in Gita. There's a very famous pastime when he was in London. Somebody asked him, "Why have you come to London? What do you have come to give us? You are from India, you're a monk there." So he said that time that you guys ruled our country for 200 plus years and you took away everything from our country, but you forgot to take the most precious gift, which is Krishna consciousness and Bhagavad Gita. So you took so much from our country, but you didn't take the most important. So I have come to give you. So Srila Prabhupada had that faith because Bhagavad Gita's main teaching in today's work also Srila Prabhupada said that it is to teach us how we are not the body, we are the soul. So Srila Prabhupada in America went to a nudist colony. There is a colony where all people would roam around naked. They would not wear clothes. So there, so Prabhupada sat for the class and after Radha Madhav, when he opened his eyes, this is all Nanga Munga people sitting. He was shocked. So how he made them attracted to Gita is so interesting. He said, "You have removed all your clothes and you have experienced the greatest pleasure of this world by removing all your clothes. So when you remove all your clothes, then you experience the greatest pleasure of the senses. Is that not right?" Then all of them said, "Yes, yes, we have experience of this." Then Srila Prabhupada said, similarly, there are a lot of coverings on the ego, on the mind. You are wearing a lot of dress internally in the form of mind, intelligence, and ego, which is covering the soul. And because of that, you're not able to experience the highest happiness, spiritual happiness. Just like in material world, to experience happiness, you have to remove all these clothes which you have done. Similarly, to experience highest spiritual happiness, you have to remove the layers of covering of mind, intelligence, and ego. And that is the teaching of the Gita. Just imagine if you have experienced so much happiness on the material level, how much happiness is there waiting for you to plunder if you remove the layers covering the soul. So, like that, to help them access the Gita knowledge, how he presented Krishna consciousness. So, this is the important thing that Gita, Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavatam are scriptures. If you study them every day, regularly, see, you don't have to study for 1 hour, 2 hours, even 5 minutes every day. If you put it in your sadhana card, na, every day just 5 minutes minimum. 5 minutes, एक ऐसा आदत लगा दिया ना, it's somewhere like what I do is I have this one tape, Prabhupada's tape. Prabhupada's lectures are there. I just, when I'm taking bath or putting tilak, even 5 minutes if I hear some verse Prabhupada quotes, something he says, it just resonates. फटक करके click होता है. Because once the importance of this is understood by one pastime of Srila Prabhupada. Once they were standing on an ocean side, they saw a huge ocean liner ship being dragged by a small motorboat. So Srila Prabhupada asked them, "Why is this happening?" The devotees gave different answers. And one devotee said, "See, just try to understand the context. Huge ship is being dragged by a small motorboat. Srila Prabhupada said it is being dragged because this big ship, its engine is failed. And then he said, we are like this big ship, ocean liner. And Maya is like that small motorboat. And why is Maya able to drag us? Although we are so superior to Maya, we are Krishna is actually spiritual energy. But why Maya is able to drag us? Because our engine has failed. Our connection with Krishna has failed. So therefore, when we are connected to scriptures, hearing and chanting, then the engine is on. Otherwise, Maya is like that, small. This is like a small motorboat. This is a small motorboat we are talking about. This can keep you occupied 10 hours, 15 hours a day. I know people, devotees I know, who are saying, "Prabhuji, I'm not reading scriptures, I'm not chanting but no time, busy. But they have time for IPL, movies, web series. Still a time. That means the ocean liner is being dragged by a small motorboat of smartphone. So therefore, we can be happy if the engine is on. Engine means hearing and chanting has to be on. That's why I like Amarendra Prabhu once he said, ISKCON, spelling is ISKCON. He says it means is, is Casey on? Is Casey on? Question mark. He says if Casey is on, then you are safe. Is Casey on means is hearing and chanting going on. That is the actual meaning of this song you are saying. That is Bhagavad Gita. So if you are studying constantly, our intelligence will be sharp. Bhagavad Gita basically has how many chapters? 18 chapters. It has 3 sections. First 6 chapters they focus on Karma Yoga. 7 to 12 focus on Bhakti Yoga. 13 to 18 focus on Jnana Yoga. Karma, Jnana, Bhakti is most important. It is preserved in the middle. Just like precious jewel is protected. Like you don't keep the precious diamond right in the table. You keep it in your pocket. Similarly, the gift of Bhagavad Gita is protected by karma and jnana, and it is there in the middle. Just like it's like a burger. You have a bread on top, bread below, but the main masala is in the middle. So 7 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga section, and within there, the 9th chapter is the most confidential knowledge that Krishna speaks about. Even the 12th chapter, Krishna speaks about devotional service directly. So there are many, many important verses that which speak directly about the power of Bhakti Yoga. So like this, we need to connect. And instead of scriptures, if you say, no, Prabhu, let me engage in sense gratification, then we will suffer. We will be distracted by all the shopping malls, all this razzle dazzle and glamour everywhere. And there's no dearth of customers for these things. Shaman Prabhu says, customer means जो बहुत कष्ट करके मर जाते हैं. कष्ट करके मरो, customer. You keep buying products which you don't need. You you buy products. You buy products that you don't need, and you spend money which you don't have by taking loan or something like that. You spend money on through credit card or something. You spend money that you don't have on products that you don't need to impress people whom you don't like. That is our life story. So basically, Bhagavad Gita can be appreciated if we also have a mood of simple living, high thinking. Nowadays, it is simply living and hardly thinking. Today, actually, if you see simple, okay, let us take a simple logic. Today, we have more time-saving devices. Today, we should actually have more leisure. We should be logically compared to 100 years ago, people should be more comfortable now because we have more facilities. But you see, people are working harder more now than in the previous generations. That means, and nowadays we do conduct seminars on time management. So many times, there are so many books written on time management. This is illogical. Science has advanced so much, so there should be at least one topic we should never have for discussion is time management. So that means there is something going terribly wrong. You have made so much advancement in technology, so ideally there should be a lot of time at your disposal. But why are you doing time management seminar? That means you have got trapped. Somebody is making a fool out of you. So people are suffering now because what has happened? Because we don't have Gita to guide us. Subconsciously, what is happening is with more technology and more facilities, we are suffering from a few diseases which only Gita can address, which Gita can solve, Bhagavad Gita can solve. One disease is we are control freaks. We want to control everything. We want to control our spouse. We want to control our children. We want to control our own lifestyle, our schedules. That control freak disease will be smashed to pieces when we study the Gita, 13th chapter, 5th chapter. How many doers are there? How we are helpless? What energies act? 3 modes. So this control freak, people are control freaks. That's why they are miserable. They are unhappy and they are busy all the time. That is one. Also, the other disease people have is they have a disease of perfection. They want to be perfect in everything. Everything they want 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Everything, job, man, relationship, man. We have set very high standards for ourselves. And in all areas of life, we want to be perfect. We want ourselves to be perfect. We want our partner to be perfect. We can't tolerate substandard. So perfection, control freak, and third is enjoy. We want to enjoy everything. We want to enjoy. Job. I'm not enjoying my job. Right? You can't enjoy everything. Everything, every day we feel if I'm not enjoying, that means I'm not doing things right in life. So this enjoyment, desire, control freak, perfection. So all this is cause of great distress because you can't always be perfect. You can't always control events in your life and you can't always enjoy. And Bhagavad Gita threadbare exposes this disease mentality. And therefore we are not peaceful. But when we read the Gita, we understand this is Krishna's book of compassion. And Bhagavad Gita will come down to our level, especially when we read purports or we hear classes of devotees who are studying the Gita, then we understand. Like, a child, he is short and the father is very tall. The child cannot embrace the father. The father can come down, pick up the child and embrace. Similarly, when we try to study the scriptures or we try to access Krishna in our own limited senses, we cannot. But the Lord is so kind, He comes through His devotees and He gives us Krishna consciousness. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita Gita means song. It's a song of compassion. Of Bhagavat means God. Out of the 700 verses, 575 verses in the Gita are spoken by Krishna. And out of the 575 verses, more than 250 verses are where Krishna says, "You will come to me if you do this, or you belong to me, or this is a spiritual world, or you are mine." More than 250 verses are Krishna giving hope, or Krishna telling us that how we are dear to Him. So therefore, it's all about direct, loving instructions of the Lord. So if somebody asks you, okay, you are going for this ISKCON programs, what is Bhagavad Gita actually? So you may think, Prabhu, how do I explain Bhagavad Gita? I'll tell you how you can explain what is Bhagavad Gita in one sentence. See, Bhagavad Gita, to understand or to explain to anyone what is the essence of Gita, if you want to understand in one sentence, how many verses are there in the Gita? 700, 18 chapters. You may say, how can I explain this to my colleague, my neighbor, my friend in 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes? Somebody says, Gita का essence बताओ. गीता का सार क्या है? In India, most people think गीता का सार है जो हुआ था अच्छा हुआ था, जो हुआ अच्छा हुआ, जो हो रहा है अच्छा हो रहा है, जो होगा अच्छा होगा. That is not the essence of Gita. To understand the essence of Gita, we need to understand what are the 5 main topics in the Bhagavad Gita. The first topic of the Gita is, which is right in the beginning, second chapter, Krishna starts explaining, is who am I? This is the first topic. Who am I? Atma, soul. I am the soul. This is the first topic of the Gita. So basically, what does this mean? Who am I? Soul means, Atma means, I am not this temporary body, I am eternal. And this life is just one chapter in a book called life. Life is very long. And this 70, 80 years is just one chapter. That is the first, most important lesson, topic of the Gita. Who am I? I am not the body, I am the soul. Once we learn this, then we are able to see everything as temporary or eternal. And our things become very clear. Very, very important. Actually, on this only we can discuss so many hours, so many examples. See, when we become conscious of what is temporary and eternal, everything you can see in terms of, will this help me in my permanent journey or will this not? Constantly you can analyze. Like, for example, I'll give you 2 silly examples. Just before coming to KC, one was just around that time, when I was before joining the ashram, there was a movie I had seen in Maratha Mandir. My friends had taken me there, Jabardast, they said, "तो साधु बन रहा है." So before joining, हमारे पास एक तो पाप कर्म कर. So they said, so I saw that. Then when I joined the temple, then with Gaurang Prabhu, we were going for a program. So I looked at that poster there and I smiled. Gaurang Prabhu said, क्या smile कर रहा है? But Prabhu जी, ये मेरा last film था, मैंने देखा. Then Gaurang Prabhu also saw a poster. कैसा है? बोला, ठीक है. And then we spoke, we laughed. And then after 6 months, again I was going on that side, in the taxi. And I thought, अरे, ये poster अभी भी है. Then after 1 year, we were going somewhere to Sat Rasta, somewhere we were going, and again I saw, अरे, poster लगा है. आप लोग सब स्पेकुलेट कर रहे हैं कौन सा मूवी है. अरे मत स्पेकुलेट करो बाबा, भागवतम पढ़ो. I'm making a point. So then after 2 years I saw that movie is still there. And so many things are changing outside. People are dying, people are taking birth. And after 7 years I was going, 10 years, now 25 years हो गया, अभी भी movie चल रहा है उधर. So I give this example to say everything is changing around, but the movie is going on. The movie is like the soul. When everything is changing, something is not changing. And when we connect to that, not the movie, what I'm saying is the principle. See, when everything is changing, something is not changing. That is Atma, that is soul. That principle, Brahman, it is also called in the Gita. When we connect to that undying metaphysical reality, our spiritual life starts. Otherwise, your spiritual life is not begun if you're only thinking of your children's marriage, your children's job, your career, your money, your savings, your disease. ये तो खत्म ही नहीं होगा सिलसिला. There is something beyond your body, mind, family, everything. See, before coming to KC, I used to go to one restaurant, not for the food as such, but just to. I didn't know that I'm looking for the soul experience. I didn't know what soul. Look, I didn't know, but I knew I was looking for something that is eternal. So I was very attracted to one restaurant at BT Stage, CST के पास. Maybe होगा. It's called Pancham Puri Wala. You know that? अच्छा वो सब मुझे लगा पता नहीं किसको पता होगा नहीं. अच्छा फेमस है अभी भी. Oh, good. So Pancham Puri Wala, I used to go with my friends from Kafkaret. We used to drive. And why I used to go? Because in 1848, one man called Pancham Das Sharma came from Agra in a bullock cart, in a bailgadi, to Mumbai. So what we call CST now, there he started his thela, and he would give 5 puris, 1 gila sabzi and aloo ka dry sabzi for charana. चाराना यूज किया ना आपने भी. मैं तो किया है. 25 पैसे को चाराना बोलते हैं. तो चाराना में वो 5 पूरी आलू का सब्जी देता. तो वही रेसिपी, वही फॉर्मूला अभी भी चलता है. Now of course lot of things have changed, but at that time the place where this restaurant is now, उसके आगे अभी जो CST station है, that time there was one talab, I forget the name of that, and we had read and we knew that talab was where there would be executions taking place, मतलब फांसी की सजा, गोली से मारना. And people used to come to watch that. उनके लिए वो जैसे आजकल आप IPL देखने वानखेड़े में जाते हो, पहले लोग CST में आते थे, लोगों का फांसी, क्या it was called फांसी, there was a pond, I forget the name of that place. तो वो लोगों का मरना देखने आते थे. People used to come to watch that. मजा आ गया. चलो अभी भूख लगी. It was happen, the execution would happen in the morning. पूरा भीड़ जमा होता था. अरे इसको भी फांसी दो, चलो देखो उसको, उसको गोली चलने वाला है. तो उसको मार देते थे. फिर सबका मनोरंजन हो गया. अभी भूख लगी है, क्या खाने का? अरे ये पंचमपुरी वाले को उधर खाते. They used to eat and they used to go. So this is now 7th generation. So when I was going, it was on 30 rupees that puri and bhaji. Now it must be 50. The idea is 7th generation is now going on. वही आदमी ने शुरू किया, वही रेसिपी, वही जगह, सब कुछ वही है. सब कुछ बदल गया आसपास. There is no execution happening now. वहां पे तो उस समय 1848 में तो ट्रेन भी नहीं था. So many things have happened, but Pancham Puri wala is going. वही 5 पूरी. अभी आपको इंस्पायर नहीं करूँ जाके उधर पूरी खाएगा. आपको खाना है तो गोइंदा में आके खाओ. प्रसाद का हो, that is not prasad. It may be a traditional, authentic, whatever food item, but the idea is everything is changed. But Pancham Puri wala is not changed. वही रेसिपी, वही पूरी, वही सब्जी. तो हम लोग जाते थे. I and a friend used to, I didn't know that I'm looking for eternity. I was looking for puri bhaji, but I knew it was not puri bhaji, it was something different. So this is a very, very important topic. We have to seek that eternity. Something is not, something doesn't die. Sometimes जो पुतला है खड़े के सामने खड़ा होता हूँ. पुतला दिखा है आपने? ये लोग 100 साल पहले इधर थे, अभी कहाँ है? So everything is changing, but something is not changing. I go to this Columbia school, if you go from here to August Cranti Maidan, the two Mani Bhavan के उधर. So Mani Bhavan का मैंने videos देखा है YouTube में. 1930s का Gandhi is standing on the balcony of Mani Bhavan waving at people. So I sometimes go below Mani Bhavan and I'm like, okay, this is where Mahatma Gandhi was waving at people 100 years ago. Same place, same trees were there, I guess. Where are the people? It's Columbia School, 1838 is school. So I try to connect. Everything is changed, but something is not changed. I go to that banyan tree in Hanging Garden, which is apparently 500 years old. All the people go to Banganga, there's a photograph of Banganga in 1830, so which photo I drawing it. So you go to these places which have been there for a long, long time. And then you realize you also been around for a long, long time. And something within you has not died. Something within you is also been there since 1830. And that something within you meets that energy, that atmosphere, that soul, super soul, Brahman there. And वो मिलन में आपको आनंद आता है. That's why people feel peaceful when they go to a mountain top or a forest or an ocean side. I've seen people say, I went on a nature walk, I feel very peaceful. They felt because there was a union of the soul with the supreme soul. There was some eternity connection. This is the foundation of the Gita, actually. First topic. Who am I? This is very, very important. This life, I am not the body, I am the soul. Second topic of the Gita is where am I? Where am I? Prakriti, material world. So this world is what? This world is compared to university, where we come, we study, we evolve, we graduate, we grow, we learn. So what is this? So this world is a place where it compels us to think, what is this all about? Why did I marry this person? Why do I have these children? Why do I have these parents? What am I doing in life? How long I have to go on? So this Prakriti is where am I? Atma is who am I? Is it clear? Third topic is okay, who am I? I am Atma, soul. Where am I? Prakriti, material world. I am in material world. What am I doing here? That is the third topic. I am doing karma, activities. So, and this karma is constantly going on, constantly performing actions, getting reactions, and this again educates us, helps us evolve, and forces us to understand the fourth topic. First topic is who am I? I'm Atma. Where am I? Prakriti. What am I doing here? Karma. How long am I here? Kala. Time. Time is the fourth topic of the Gita. Wheel of time. It is an uncomfortable topic, death. And I think it's very, very timely. Tomorrow is 31st, another new year will start. Everybody will say Happy New Year, but they're dying. They're coming 1 year closer to death. So I was a student of history. So in my second year graduation, first year we had Indian history, second year was European history. I remember while reading, I had to do research on Aurangzeb. So I had to do a paper. My history teacher was a very famous, she was the mother of one of the most famous Bollywood actresses at that time. So I was her favorite student. And it was interesting. So when I did this research on Aurangzeb, I found out that in 1707 or something, Aurangzeb was dying at the age of 89. He was according to the historian Stanley Walpert, he was the wealthiest man in the world at that time. Even before that, a few years before that, Aurangzeb was the wealthiest man. But he wasted or spent his last 30 years trying to enter Maharashtra. And the resilient Marathas gave him such a tough fight that with his army of, I think, 5 lakh people, he was stationed outside Ahmednagar, Aurangabad. And he just couldn't penetrate. He exhausted his entire treasury just trying to get the Marathas into submission. And when he was dying, he was utter failure. He was 89 years old, and this greatest emperor of this India, he is dying in the hands of his third son, Azam, and his son is holding his body. And Aurangzeb tells him, "Who am I? What am I doing here?" मतलब उसको मालूम नहीं था आत्मा, प्रकृति, कर्म कोई सिखाता तो समझ जाता था. But he's like, "What am I doing here? What have I gained? What have I done?" And with that lamentation, he died. This is all documented fact. And after he died, this entire thing collapsed like a pack of cards. Then the Marathas took over. So this is how time is extremely powerful, Kala. But that's the point I'm saying. When everything time destroys, something time does not destroy. And that when you connect to, your spiritual life is given. And that is what Gita is saying. सब कुछ खत्म हो रहा है, but something is there. So that is Kala, fourth topic. So what are the first out of 5 we discussed? 4. First, who am I? Who am I? Atma. Second, where am I? Prakriti. Third, what am I doing here? Karma. Fourth, how long am I here? Kala. Fifth is there something beyond all of this? Yes, that is Ishvara, spiritual world, God. And through yoga, yoga is the main topic in the Gita. Yoga means to connect. Yoga means to connect with God, Ishvara. So yoga is the one that binds the soul to Ishvara, Atma to Ishvara. So these are the 5 topics of the Gita. Atma, Prakriti, Karma, Kala and Ishvara. So in one sentence, you have to tell your friend or colleague, भगवत गीता है क्या है? आप गीता बांट रहे हो इतना मैराथन में गीता जयंती गीता में है क्या? In one sentence, if you have to say something like this. All the 5 topics are there in this sentence. I am a soul in material world performing activities within the jurisdiction of time, although I am supposed to be in the spiritual world with God. समझ गया? I'll repeat. I am a soul in material world performing activities within the jurisdiction of time, although I am supposed to be in the spiritual world with God. These are the 5 topics explained in one sentence. So therefore now is the time to study scriptures and understand this, make our relationship with God, because time is that force which destroys everything. But Gita says, Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata, ubayopi drishton satmanayostattvadarshibhi. सब कुछ खत्म होगा पर एक चीज जो खत्म नहीं होगी और आप एक्चुअली बुद्धिमान है तो उसको समझो. That is what Gita is meant for, to take us from darkness. Asato ma satgamayo, tamaso ma jyotirgamayo, mrityor ma amritam gamayo. From temporary to eternal, from darkness to light, tamaso ma jyotir, and from death to eternal life. So scriptures make us ask these questions. See, we have to get interested, otherwise spiritual life you cannot practice. You practice Krishna consciousness. See, if you don't ask the question, just all about why am I here? If you don't ask this why question, why am I in this particular world? Who am I? If you don't ask this question and still practice bhakti, आपका भक्ति खोखला रहेगा. Unless you are very simple-hearted and you are happy serving Krishna, that's another subject matter. You're a Brajavasi. But if you are a gossiping person, complicated dimag, and if you don't ask these questions with your complicated intelligence, then you will be in ISKCON. One two things will happen: either you will leave Krishna consciousness after some years, or you will stay here and do politics or gossip. We have to ask deep questions. We have to be interested. See, earlier spiritual organizations would catch interested people. If you go to Rishikesh, Ayodhya, even now, there are institutions in the corner lying somewhere and interested people go there. But Prabhupada's genius was, he did not catch interested people, he created interesting people. And now we have to do neither of the two. We have to take care of people's interest. अच्छा, you're not interested in bhakti, no problem. आपको अच्छा वो करना है, जो आपको जो चाहिए हम देंगे. आपको मनोरंजन करेंगे, आपको हंसाएंगे, शायरी सुनाएंगे, सब करेंगे. आप माला घुमाओ. माला नहीं घुमाएंगे हम आप हमारा ख्याल रखो. I'm a cry baby. Molly coddle me, give me love. That's what preachers are doing now. पूरा पसीना छूट जाता है, वो एक माला ही नहीं करता नालायक. So catching interested people was first spiritual life. बहुत साल तक ऐसे करता था. बाद में प्रभुपाद ने स्टार्ट किया to create interest in people. Now we are reduced to take care of people's interest. Anyway, so I stop here now. It's 8:30. I wanted to speak on this theme. There's much more actually on scriptures, how our brain changes. मैंने बहुत इसके ऊपर पढ़ाई किया है, तो मैं कुछ शेयर करना था, but तो टाइम ही नहीं है. Maybe next time. Then some other time this topic will come up. I studied on the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, and how the neural pathways get changed when we study scriptures. It's all documented facts. and it's very powerful. So there is corroboration of science is confirming that studying of scriptures and meditation, how it helps us improve the rational brain. See, there are two parts of the brain: the rational brain and the impulsive brain. Amygdala is the limbic system, which is feeling, and the rational part is the prefrontal cortex. How that gets strengthened by studying of scriptures. All the documents are there, but for some other day, some other time. But the essence was scriptures sharpen our intelligence, make us go deeper, understand what is it that is eternal. So we need to hear it with an open heart and open mind. सद्विति प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ते ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानेन तत्त्वदर्शी. थोड़ा सा समय निकालो शांति से, दो रोज 5 मिनट 10 मिनट, चलो रोज नहीं होता तो 2 दिन में एक बार, चलो हफ्ते में एक दिन तो बैठो, थोड़ा सुनो पढ़ो. There are many nice devotees. Now I'm one devotee. Like so many devotees are already there, Amarendra Prabhu and so many ISKCON sannyasis, Prabhupada lectures are already there. But there are many senior devotees in ISKCON who've been around for many years. And sometimes when I hear their classes, I'm just blown away by the realizations. Last 2 days, I'm hearing one Mataji's lecture. She has just 200 followers or 300 followers. Prabhupada, Priya, Mataji, elderly lady. Such deep classes on Lord Chaitanya, Krishna. I'm like, ऐसे कितने devotees हैं? Buddhism को lecture सुनता हूँ. So they have been around for 50, 45, 50, 55 years practicing bhakti. When they speak, they may not speak with a lot of glamour, entertainment, but there is depth. And that just touches your heart. Hare Krishna. I stop here. Any questions? One question or comment you can take. Hare Krishna.
The issue of remembrance. We study.
Yes.
That becomes.
It's okay if we don't remember. See, this is again our problem. We have studied in modern college education system. We have been taught that you have studied. The proof that you studied something is when you remember. That's how we've been brainwashed, right? We subconsciously think, I have studied this subject because I remember. That's why the exams are taken, right? The exams are test of your remembrance. I don't know how it is now, but when we were young, exam में उगल दो बाद में भूल जाओ चलेगा, उधर याद रहना चाहिए. So we think subconsciously that I have learned something if I remember. But spiritual knowledge is different. Even if you don't remember, if you spend time with that knowledge, then at the right time when you're supposed to remember, you'll remember. So I forget all the time. I have a shloka book. I've been memorizing verses. Now because of so many papers getting accumulated, notebooks, and I have a small locker, no place to keep. So I got this device. So I write verses in this. There is one diary I've opened here. Every day I write 2-3 verses, memorize. But so many verses in the last 25 years I've forgotten. So I can't get into depression. अरे याद क्या था, भूल गया. No, the time I spent then with those verses was Krishna consciousness. Now my attempt to again remember is also Krishna consciousness. Both are same. Both are festivals. Celebrate करो. हम लोग को क्या बताएगा कि फेल हो गए, याद नहीं है, नालायक, बुद्धू. नहीं, हम भूल जाते. But I'm happy because I was spending time with Krishna. The right time will remember when you need to remember. We have been brainwashed to believe that if you don't remember, you are useless. So here, Radhana Swami Maharaj explained once in one class. Devotees think, I know all of this. Gita ka sab mujhe pata hai. Let me read modern news and modern things and know more about the world. So Maharaj said, no. In Bhakti, it is not important whether you know or not know. What is more important is how much time are you spending with this knowledge? How much association you are taking of this knowledge, that is more important than learning this knowledge or remembering this knowledge. Do you get this? So right now, what you are spending time with this knowledge. That is more important than figuring out everything. We give an example. If Namacharya Haridas Thakur used to chant 192 rounds every day, so he knew all the glories of holy name. So you should have done something else. He knew everything about chanting. But that knowing about chanting was not so important. Spending time with the holy name was more important for him. Similarly, I may remember everything of the Gita, I may not remember, but I go back to the same thing. Today morning I was hearing Prabhupada's class, same class. So you cats and dogs, you are living like cats and dogs, interested in sex life, and this heavy class on sex life. When you hear that, you feel sometimes you feel Prabhupada could get away with it. You can never repeat. Some of the things there's a picture. This thing in class में बोल सकते हैं क्या? Baba toba toba kabhi nahi. Some of the examples Prabhupada says are so graphic, and I'm like, wow. And same thing. But उसमें कुछ तो है वो sound potency में. So you may know it, you may not know it. Just be in that knowledge space. But try to remember. That doesn't mean you let your mind wander. That's another extreme. I try to, when I go for my morning walks, I memorize shlokas. I got a target 120 times if I chant a verse. Then I have a test every morning. I wake up, I have to recall the verse. 3 consecutive days, if you can chant the verse without difficulty, that means I memorize. Then I go to the next verse. So it's a पूरा endeavor करते हैं हम. But not in a desire to control and know. मजे के लिए करते हैं, मजे के लिए. याद आया तो ठीक है, नहीं तो नहीं, तो वापस करेंगे. फेल तो कोई फेल नहीं है. भक्ति में ना, there is only success. से अभी ओलंपिक्स होता है, ओलंपिक्स में जो फर्स्ट आएगा मैराथन रेस होता है. When the first fellow comes in the stadium, वो कितना माइल भागते हैं वो लोग? 42 kilometers they run. And when that first fellow comes, he gets gold medal. Everybody is cheering. Second fellow, silver medal, bronze medal. And then there are some people who are like, will take another 3 hours to complete. There's nobody in the stadium that time. But in Krishna conscious Olympics, it is different formula. First fellow, when he comes running, stadium, there is everybody putting garland in the spiritual world, chandan, aarti utarte, gold medal. But इसमें कैसा है? जो last आ रहा है ना, उसके लिए भी stadium packed रहेगा. And when he comes, he also get gold medal only. हरी बोल, अरे क्यों? अरे मतलब लास्ट है, नहीं तुम रेस छोड़ा नहीं ना. गिर रहा था, उठ रहा था, भाग रहा था, रो के आया पर आ गया ना, बस. So we don't have to worry. This modern education system has spoiled us, brainwashed us to memorize, compete. Bhakti mein every moment is a festival. Every devotee is lovable. It's just everybody is sweet, everybody is wonderful. ये मूड में रहेंगे ना, तो भक्ति में मजा आएगा, शास्त्र पढ़ने में मजा आएगा. कभी क्लास में क्वेश्चन पूछते लोग बोलते हैं, I don't know the answer, wait, I'll get back to you. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know. Anyway, so this is about today. We'll stop here. It's 8:40. Thank you all the devotees. Also the devotees who come online. Thank you very much for joining today. Hare Krishna. Thank you.